Bubbles and light. Let's do this. Command N is a shortcut for file new. You can always go to file new, but notice how it's got a little scribbly thing N. That means new. And so that's a great way to learn shortcuts. But let's go ahead and just get this party started. I'm going to go to the elliptical select tool over here. It's like a little circle select thing. So I'm going to make a, I'm going to make sure it's actually selecting stuff with one of these first two, right? I would use the first one. I'm going to make a circle-ish thing. And I'm going to take the gradient tool that we saw earlier, the blend, and I'm just going to like slash it like Zorro or Fruit Ninja or something like that. If I'll slash a little bit closer. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, like that. Okay, I'll say enter to keep it, and I'll go back to the elliptical select tool and I'll do it again. Wow. Bubble. Enter. Okay, and then to make sure you have nothing selected, you can go to select and none. All right, and we are going to select the background. So I'll grab the magic wand, grab the background, and find a suitable texture. I guess I'll be red today. Okay, so I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to go to select invert. So now it's got the little circle thing selected. Okay, if I do something, it'll do the circle thing. So don't drag over a texture. Instead, we're going to try this new one called colors colorize. Okay, so find colorize at the bottom, right? And just kind of take the hue knob. We've done this before with hue and saturation on the first day, if you remember that, and just find a good hue. It's going to rotate around the rainbow and find something that goes with whatever you've got in the back. I'm gonna do like red and blue today. Saturation is how blue or pink or whatever it is. Okay, so I'll just go up a little bit with my saturation, and then of course you know what lightness is. There we go. So I got my bubbles. I'll say okay. I did not slash all the way through my circles, so you'll see that is why we've got this weird little thing missing in the corners of some of them. Instead of going back and redoing that, I'm just going to pretend everything's going well. So I'm going to say select and none. I have my bubbles. And pretty much done here. I'm just going to try a new filter. Let's go to filters, distorts, and something that cuts it up into tiny little rock formations called Mosaic. If you guys know what a mosaic is, this makes sense. If not, let me explain. This is how big the tiles are. Okay, so if I go bigger than 15, then I got big rocks. And if I go smaller than 15, I got small rocks or pieces of glass or what have you. So it's kind of turning your thing into pebble art. Okay, tile height. Well, how tall are the things? So that's not as obvious when they're really small, so I'll go back to big for a little bit so we can talk about things like tile height. Let it think for a second here. So, how high are the tiles? Well, the higher they are, the more shadows they cast and the more they catch light on the other side and that kind of thing. So you'll see they look bumpier, right? I'm trying to make my tiles a little smaller, and I think those bumps will become more apparent. That's what tile height is all about. Tile neatness is about the regularity of the pattern. So if you take the neatness all the way up, you'll see exactly where the pattern came from. This one is obviously hexagons, and hexagons just all fit together perfectly. And this just makes them more regular. And the further you go to the left, the less hexagonal they become. And it starts to do some really fun and weird things with your picture. Now, one of my favorite pieces to play with is the spacing. However, be careful, because if you space them too much, your picture can get really boring real fast. So little spacing is good. A lot of spacing, not always so good. So let's get some smaller pieces again. But tile spacing makes them further apart. And you can space them so far apart that it looks like there's hardly anything in the concrete or more or whatever. But that's just how far apart they are. Let's see, here we go. Now, you remember how we said height catches light and stuff, different colors. Here you can change the light color and the azimuth, right here, the direction. That is pretty much it. The only thing I skipped was the hexagon shape. I might not want to make it out of hexagons. I might want to make it out of triangles. So, same deal. You have all the same regularity and irregularity things to play around with. But whenever you get to something that you think looks cute, then you should say, okay, and save it and export it and upload it and smile.